Okay. We're live. So welcome everybody to the CosCast episode 12. Woo! Ah! Yay! Today we're going to talk a little bit about crossplay and also hopefully a little bit about Hobbitcon and also the Game of Thrones premiere or pre-premiere that was yesterday in Oslo that I attended. And, you know, just our regular, fun, happy-go-lucky... Oh, Jeebus, I'm in the background. Sorry. This is so unprofessional.
Huh?
There. Okay. Now, I just forgot that I had put the video in another tab. So I heard myself. But no one else probably did.
No. You just seem like a really crazy person right now.
Yeah, really crazy. But I am crazy, so that's fine. Well, let's start with introducing ourselves. I am Pixie Dust Cosplay, but my real name is Anita, and I am an educated freelance illustrator.
My turn?
Yeah.
I am Annabella Cosplay, also known as Sunniva. Hello.
And next one.
It looks like she froze.
Yeah, I think she froze. Well, the next one on the list is Enyassia Cosplay, and her name is Tonya. Oh, maybe she's back. Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, now you can introduce yourself.
Ah!
So, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties today, apparently. Yeah, not us. It sucks.
That's why I have really fast internet.
Yes, mine's pretty fast too, and very stable. So, Tonya is trying to figure out what's wrong with her internet. We could start the discussion, or the episode, with talking about what have we done this week in cosplay. What have you done?
I have fixed some pieces of my Belle cosplay, which is my first cosplay that I made. It has some imperfections that I'm a bit unsure what I'm going to do about. It's either start the top all over again, or I can just do this and pretend that the imperfection is not there. I'm not really sure if I'm going to fix the whole thing again or if I'm going to let it be, but I have fixed some part of it, so now it works, and it can work the whole day on a convention, so maybe I will wear that cosplay to this content. I'm not really sure yet.
That's cool. Will you use... Ooh, yeah.
What?
Will you be using the same wig, do you think?
Yes, but I need to fix that as well, or maybe I can just use my own hair. Since most part of it is a bit brownish now, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And I have fixed a little bit more on the mace thing that I kind of started on last Sunday. Now it's attached properly to cardboard thing, and it has a pointy thing on the end and a pointy thing on the end here.
Mm-hmm. So it's lethal in both ends.
Yes.
All ends.
And painted. Yay.
Yay. So you've done quite a lot this week, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like our special guest is ready to join us because we're having a special guest. So I'm going to send her an invite, and hopefully this will check out. Yay.
Woohoo.
Yay. And now Tonya's back, so she can introduce herself.
Yes, for some reason my internet is just kaputski before, but oh well. Hello, I am Enyassia Cosplay, and this week I haven't really done anything cosplay related.
And that's just fine, because sometimes life just doesn't allow time for cosplay.
But you have done some sketches, because I have seen you have put out some sketches on your side.
Yeah, I have plans to make my own bunad for the 17th of May, because I don't
Maybe you
really
can
have.
explain to if we have any viewers who aren't Norwegian what bunad is.
Sure, bunad is kind of the traditional fest costume for Norway. There
Yeah,
are a
like a
lot.
national costume.
Yeah, national costume, and there are a lot of different varieties depending on where you're from and stuff like that. But I'm gonna make my own design. So that.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
So have you decided on any colors or anything?
It will be all green. I have bought some green wool for the west, and I have some golden band for decoration on the bottom of the west,
Mm-hmm.
almost like a belt or some sort. And I've bought a green brocade for the skirt.
Okay.
Mm.
Sounds cool. I think it'll be a very nice national attire.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool that you're making your own, because then no one else will have the same bunad as you.
exactly.
So moving on. Today, or not today, but this week, I have been working on my Harry Potter universe cosplay. I'm going to be Luna Lovegood. So the wands from the Harry Potter, the replicas are really expensive, so I decided to make my own wand. So this is how it looks right now. So I just made that out of a wooden chopstick and some rolled paper and some paper clay. And I've just been sculpting it, and now it needs to dry before I prime it and do a paint job. So that was fun.
It looks awesome.
Thank you. I'm very keen on it. And also, I ordered some blue velvet online from Etsy.com, and it arrived, and it's so gorgeous. You can't really see it that well on the camera, but I've got like 7 meters almost of blue, beautiful velvet, so I'll be using that for my Arwen Requiem dress from Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
That is awesome.
Yay! Really.
Ingrid.
Yay! Woohoo! Our special guest is here. So you can just start by introducing yourself, your cosplay name and your real name, and maybe what you do for a living or something like that.
Cool. Hello, I'm Ingrid. Ingrid Winsland. I'm Ingridbeast Cosplay on Facebook, and Ingridbeast basically pretty much everywhere online. Basically, yeah. So that's me. I work at the the National Railway Company. Really boring job, doing computer stuff and stuff. So that leaves me lots of creative energy to do cosplay.
Yay!
Yay!
And you're our guest today because we're going to talk a little bit about crossplay and a little bit about Hobbitcon because you attended recently. So thought we'd get a status report from there. But first, we'll let you get in on our regular column, which is, have you done anything cosplay related, like progress or projects this week?
Yeah, in the background here, you can see my ROS that I finished for yesterday's pre-premiere of the season 5 of Game of Thrones. Yay! Which was awesome, but I'm not going to say anything.
It was really awesome.
Do not spoil anything.
No, we're not going to spoil anything, we promise.
If you do, don't.
I'll say one thing, which isn't really a spoiler, but Christopher Hibju was there. And yeah, he said that this was going to be pretty intense, and that, first season of Game of Thrones was pretty expensive. And then second season was even more expensive, and it's kind of just escalated with every season.
This is the most expensive yet.
Yeah, so it's good. Yeah, it's pretty intense, and you're gonna love it.
Yeah, I've got high expectations for this season myself. So, but then again, I have high expectations for every season of Game of Thrones. But you competed in the cosplay contest.
Yes,
Yesterday.
I was surprisingly selected out as one of the 5 contestants, which, I thought was rather surprising because I managed to finish my costume one day before Desicon Fantasy.
Right, so not a long time ago.
No, and I had like one picture. They called me up and said, "So do you have any more pictures? Because we're going to like display pictures on the screen behind you when you're doing your performance." I'm like, "I have one picture." Sorry, I've not managed to take any more. And they're like, and this was on Tuesday, and I was going to Hobbitcon on Friday, and I was like desperately trying to get everything finished for Hobbitcon. And they were like, "So could you maybe take some more pictures before Easter?" And I'm like, "No,
Not happening.
not gonna happen. Really sorry. You'll have to just, make do with my living room picture of the costume." Yeah, I can live with that. And they were like, "Okay, if you can live with it, then we can live with it." So that was good. I got in.
What did you think of the winners?
I was not surprised. I bloody called it. I so totally called it. I was like, those 3 are gonna get prizes, and that was Starbit Cosplay. Ida Vestrell got in 3rd, and then
Bat Bunny.
Bat Bunny got in 2nd, and Lisa Frostylva on
Cryo K9.
Cryo K9. That's the name of the new site. I've not memorized that yet. But yeah, she won, and I think that was totally deserved. She really earned that with hard work. I know how much she's, bled and worked to get that cosplay going, and it was really awesome. So, and she did a good performance as well. So
her costume isn't really one of the characters I've seen been done that much before.
Yeah.
Yes. Which was kind of fun. I thought it was cool that she won with her Asha cosplay.
Yeah. Because, everyone does Daenerys. And I think we're going to see quite a lot of Laria's, because it's a really cool costume and it's feminine and all that. But Asha is kind of like, or Yara, as they call her in the series, is kind of one of those really badass, more grown-up alternatives to the sort of female warrior type that lots of people who might normally go for Arya could go for. Because she's a little older, so the people who look a little bit too old for Arya could definitely cosplay Yara and Asha. So I really liked her choice, and it was really well deserved, and she was so happy and surprised. Although she shouldn't have been.
No, she definitely had the most detail going and everything, so it was a very impressive cosplay. So I figured she was going to win when I, lined her up against her competition. But they were all really well done.
Yeah. So I felt kind of bad for the other Daenerys, because she had done a really good job in a really short time. And since there were just 5 of us, I kind of felt like she
was left out, sort of.
Yeah, a little short-handed, but she'd done a really, really lovely job, and her wig was really well styled. I saw those braids up close, and that was really good work. So it was impressed.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't seen the cosplays from yesterday's premiere, you can visit my YouTube channel, and there will be a video from the contest there, so you can see all the contestants and the prizes. It's available. But do that later, not now, because now you're watching us live. So
yes, later.
And also, before I forget it, it is possible to ask us questions while we're live. You can either do that on YouTube underneath the video where it's streaming, or you can do it on the Q&A app on Google+. So if you have any questions about Crossplay or Hobbitcon or the Game of Thrones premiere or anything specific you want to ask Ingrid, then please send us a question.
And before you do that, I'm just going to run and get my drink, because I forgot to bring it.
Sure, yeah.
Drinks
That reminds me, I'm also going to have a drink, so I'm leaving it to you girls.
Oh my god. What mischief are we going to do now?
Whoa, we're all alone,
Yeah. I have my Christmas cup with me today.
Yeah.
Christmas mug.
Mhm.
I approve of Christmas mug.
Me too. Especially since it's not Christmas.
Yeah.
What, Christmas?
I've gone for the more summery feels.
Ah.
Oh.
Ah. There. I'm clumsy, okay? Deal with it. Cheers.
Skål.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well,
Na zdrowie.
Yes, na zdrowie.
Prost, like they say in Germany.
Oh, right. I've never heard cheers in German before. But I thought just to give you a little bit of PR, I figured we could share a little bit of some photos of your Keeley cosplay, which actually won the costume contest at Desicon Fantasy recently.
I saw your prize behind you there, Ingrid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just let's see. Here is your Keeley cosplay on stage, and I have to say I was so super impressed with this costume because there are so many details and all the buttons and all like the not etching but the relief embossing, yes, that you've done on the sleeves, and yeah, it was just.
The facial hair? The facial hair. I mean, wow.
Not to mention the facial hair.
Actually, more importantly, the chest hair.
Oh, yeah. I know.
There was chest hair.
I actually heard some other cosplayers talking about that chest hair.
You've done a good job when people are talking about how well you did your chest hair.
Yes.
And I mean, you've really flattened your chest and everything, and you're very in character when you're Keeley. I mean, because you're not you anymore when you're in that costume.
No, I absolutely adore cosplaying that character because I get to run around and be a cheeky monkey.
Yeah, he's adorable.
I love being a cheeky monkey.
And this is from Hobbitcon that you were recently at. This is your Royal Keeley costume? Yeah. And that's Starbit Cosplay in her midnight gown?
Starlight gown.
Starlight gown, yes.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you look absolutely adorable, the both of you.
Thank
you. Now, everyone's seen how talented Ingrid is at crossplaying. But she's also got plenty of other great costumes, so you should definitely check out her Facebook page, Ingridbeast Cosplay. And yeah, I figured we'll talk a little bit about Hobbitcon before we jump into discussions about crossplay. So how would you describe your experience at Hobbitcon?
Total blast. Absolute total blast. And everyone should go next year, because there will be a Hobbitcon 4. There was a little bit of is it going to be another Hobbitcon? We don't quite know. But at the closing ceremony, Mark Ferguson, who played Gil-galad in Lord of the Rings for like 5 seconds, he's the conferencier, and he said that, so we'll see you next year for Hobbitcon 4. And the entire room just absolute cheers, applause. I think everyone was like literally standing up and cheering. It was like a sound wall blasting over the entire room, and he was just like, and then the head of FedCon, or Hobbitcon, the guy who basically makes it all happen, Dirk, came out on stage and said that you just made Hobbitcon 4 a fact. It's going to happen now.
We have to do it now.
Yeah. So, I mean, all the actors were like, well, we're coming back. Jed Brophy was like, well, I'm coming here next year. I don't know if there's going to be Hobbitcon 4, but I'm coming here next year.
So you guys can just show up and, stuff will happen.
Yeah. So there will be a Hobbitcon 4, and everyone who physically can go, because it's going to be amazing. First Hobbitcon I went to was Hobbitcon 2. That was last year. And it was a lot smaller. I talked to someone who'd been prepping the gift bags that you get when you get your ticket. and she said that there'd been approximately around 2,500 on Hobbitcon 2, and that was a huge increase from Hobbitcon 1, which was rather small. And then this year, judging by the queue, I think there must have been around twice as many. So that's an increase from 2,500 to probably around 4, maybe 5,000.
Maybe they'll have to change their venue if they keep growing like that.
There has been sort of, talk of what are they going to do if it, doubles again, which, it easily can. But I think it would have to be like a really big increase for them to do that, and it might be a case of them just closing the ticket sales if it gets too big. Because they'll get their expenses covered anyway, so that's
for sure.
What's important to them. But if it does get bigger, it also means that they might have more money to get more and perhaps even bigger stars. So,
that's possible.
This year Luke Evans was there, and he's getting pretty big. So, considering like autographs and pictures, with most of the other dwarf actors were around €20. Luke Evans, I think, picture with him was €85.
That's a lot for a picture.
Well, it's to cover the expenses of having him here. There.
I understand
that.
So
Did any of you attend the sci-fi fair that was in Lillestrøm for like 5 or 6 years ago?
No.
I'm not sure I did. Don't think I did. No.
Because they did have an actor from Lord of the Rings, and it was you only had to pay for your ticket in, and then you could get your autograph signed for free.
That's
you could buy a picture, of course. You had to buy a picture.
Yeah, but it was the guy who played Gimli, right?
Yes.
Oh,
John Rhys Davies.
Adorable man. Yeah.
So I had
Davis.
my hair was like pink and stuff, and he wrote a note to me that said, "May your hair always be multicolored and your heart always gold." And then he signed it.
It was the cutest thing ever.
And we had some kids in front of the line of us, and one of the kids had a question for him. That was like, why are dwarves so small, or something like that. And he just blew out in character and just had this long,
like
Gimli talk. Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that is so great. I love it.
I think there's something special about the Peter Jackson Tolkien movies and how the actors kind of connect with the world, with the fans and their fellow actors, because you see it with the gang who played in the Lord of the Rings. They're still friends, they're still in touch, and I think it's going to be the same with all the actors that played the dwarves as well. And I mean, that's one of the things that the actors keep saying every year when they come on stage for the opening closing ceremony, is that Hobbitcon is like an extended family. And they get to hang out with the fans, and they get to hang out with their dwarven brothers. And it's one of their favourite cons. They actually, all of them have said, this is the best con in the world. We've been to a few now, but this is the best con in the world. And I think there's something in it, because at Hobbitcon you have stars, and you have workshops and people doing lectures and stuff, mostly in German though, but there's lots of other stuff to do if you're not speaking German as well. But the thing is, at the end of the evening, when all the program is done, everyone goes to the bar and everyone parties like it's freaking Durin's Day. Or something. I've
seen videos, and I have seen that people in like hobbit costumes and dwarf costumes and glow sticks. It's weird. It's totally weird.
There's no party like a Hobbitcon party. I can promise you that. It's mental. I mean, I was up dancing for like 5 hours more or less straight And you don't really sit down, because if you sit down, then you feel like how tired you are. So you just keep going, drink lots of water, and you have lots of glow sticks, and you just dance, and you have absolutely no voice at the end of Hobbitcon.
Yeah, we've been talking about it like amongst ourselves that we really want to go because it looks like so much fun. And,
It will be a Viking invasion next year, I think.
cool.
Is it like that all the Norwegian people who are going kind of get together and connect because they are going to Hobbitcon together?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
did-
this year we had some of us had a Facebook group so that we could plan out stuff and, you know, book flights so that we could travel together, and hotel rooms and stuff like that. So I think the bigger it gets, the more scattered the people going are going to be. I mean, there's going to be people from different circle of friends and people we don't know. But I mean, as far as I know, people will still be open for anyone to join in as long as we have some sort of connection to them. And I think if you plan on going to Hobbitcon, connect with the people you know already, and you are bound to meet people from Norway that you don't know, and you can get to know. So it's a really good way of socializing. This year, though, it wasn't so easy. Last year, there was a camp area where there was like a dwarf camp and an elf camp and I think a hobbit camp. But the two latter were kind of, you know, neglected a little bit because everyone just wanted to hang out with the dwarves.
Yeah, because you're the most fun, obviously.
Obviously, but it was a really special atmosphere because, you know, I brought my guitar, someone else had brought their guitar, and we just ended up sitting there and having a huge sing-along, you know, with Into the West and Icy Fire and Song of the Lonely Mountain, all that stuff. So we really connected and got to know each other and got to sit back and relax a little bit. But we didn't have that this year, so that was a little bit reduced. However, I think the dance floor kind of did that job this year, but you don't get that much of a chance to talk to people when you're on the dance floor with loud music and glow sticks everywhere and limbo and conga lines and all sorts. But it is a lot of fun, and you will meet people. You will get to know new people, even if you won't get that many acquaintances as we did the first time because it was much smaller. But it is a lot of fun, and it's a very welcoming atmosphere. The Lord of the Rings fandom, the Tolkien fandom in general, tends to be a very generous fandom in regards to taking new people in and getting to know people. So.
Yeah. But I think you can say that about the cosplay community in general, or at least in Norway, as far as I've experienced. It's very including and welcoming, and everybody tries to just get along and be friends, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that some categories of the community can be very competitive. I know that some communities in the more anime and Japanese cosplay communities have sometimes tendencies towards being a little bit more competitive. But I think that I've seen very little of it in Norway. I know that it exists very much so in States, and I think some places in England that I've heard of, but I've not seen it in Norway yet. And I think that's a very good thing. And they have the same thing at Hobbitcon. I mean, if you meet someone with the same costume or the same character that you're cosplaying, people won't go like, "Oh, you're cosplaying the same character as me, I hate you now." They'll go like, "Oh, how did you do that? Oh, that's clever. See, I did this, but it didn't really work out. But, oh, I did the same. Yeah, I used the same material."
Yeah, learning from each other.
And you get a conversation instead of, you know, alienating each other. So
That's a much better way to react on the same characters you are.
yeah.
Absolutely. I can see that Tonya's cat has taken over her desk.
Oh,
Yay, cats! Just show everybody.
I was looking forward to this moment.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the previous casts, and yeah, this is my highlight. Really.
Yay! So cute.
He's really shy. I mean, I stayed there for hours and hours and I didn't see hide nor hair of the cat, but as soon as the video camera is on, there it is.
Yeah.
Just loves
Camera
the
whore. But so, how much does it like cost you to participate in Hobbitcon, like tickets and hotels and everything?
I will not lie, it is expensive. It's a lot of money, but you get a lot back for it as well. So, I mean, I've started saving up now, and I will be saving up. I think the tickets are usually out late summer, early autumn, and the sooner you order the tickets, the further forwards in the big hall or the big auditorium you get seats. So you get like
All right, so there's numbered seats.
Not numbered seats, but numbered rows.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you get a row, and then you have to meet up early if you want to sit like in the middle of it. And other than that, it's usually not a problem getting the tickets if you're going for the economy ticket, which is usually around 800, 900 crowns. And then there's the hotel. Now, the hotel is freaking expensive. It is. If you share with 2 other people, it gets a little bit cheaper, and then I think it's somewhere around 90 euros a night.
That is a lot.
That is a lot of money. However, there are quite a lot of alternatives. So if you have to go to Hobbitcon on a budget, you can find other places to stay. They will be a little bit further away, but I think as long as, for example, you know someone who's staying at the hotel, or you bring a backpack so that you can change for the evening and just check in your luggage, so to say, or your handbag or whatever in the wardrobe in the evening, then you should be able to just go. So last year we stayed at the Ibis Hotel, which is in close to the city centre, but that's about a half an hour drive from the hotel. So that way you will end up with some expenses for taxi back home in the evening if you're staying late, and obviously it'll take some time to get back and forth. But it's definitely a really good alternative if you don't have that much money, because I think you can get away with somewhere around 2,500 crowns for 4 nights, which is really not that bad.
No, that's not that bad. And then there's airplane tickets, of course.
Yeah, and then there's plane tickets, which usually come at around, a little under 2,000 crowns. I think you can get tickets for.
But now you are well prepared because it's 1 year till next time.
Exactly. So you guys need to just start saving now. You know, set up an account called Hobbitcon.
Buy things as you go, I guess. You know, buy the tickets and then save up a little for the room and yeah.
And I mean, we couldn't buy plane tickets until quite a lot later after the con tickets and the hotel had been booked, because I don't think they put them out for sale until it's like 4 months or something before, or I don't know. But regardless, it took some time before we could actually get tickets for the flights. So, you know, and you don't necessarily have to book hotel room at the same time as you buy the tickets. But if you want to stay at the Maritime, then I would recommend you pay as soon as you have the chance, because this year there was a bit of an issue, and they were very, very honest and vocal about it from FedCon, because there was, I think, a wealthy Saudi Arabian customer who probably is like a regular customer with the Maritime, had come in and said that I want 40 rooms, basically an entire floor. So he booked an entire floor, and that meant that a lot of the rooms that FedCon had reserved were taken away from them. So suddenly there were a lot of people without rooms because they'd reserved but they'd not paid yet. But everyone that had paid got their rooms. But then suddenly, you know, you had people who were who'd ordered 3 people rooms with some friends who hadn't paid, and then suddenly they got 2 new roomies they didn't know who were. So, so that can be a little bit like, but I think hotel room, if you're going to stay at the Maritime, pay as soon as you can. If you're not staying at the Maritime, then you can be a little bit more lenient. But, I mean, the Maritime, you do get a lot of money's worth. It's really nice rooms. You get breakfast included, and you can choose to go downstairs into the restaurant area or the bistro area and have your breakfast there. and possibly see some of the stars having breakfast at some of the tables around you. Or if you, like me, like your mornings to have long time to prepare your cosplay, or you need long time to get your costume on and such, you can have the breakfast ordered up to your room for like 30 crowns or something. And they will serve you like this huge meal. I mean, I couldn't eat even half of it. There was so much food. I had lunch and basically food for the rest of the day if I needed to. A bit boring eating breakfast foods all day, but you know, it's cheap. So
you gotta save a little when you're on a budget.
Yeah.
That's normal.
And they also have a spa. So they have like this huge pool, and it's become a bit of a tradition that we have pool party on the Friday before the con. So if you come on early and you're there on Friday, and if you're not staying at the Maritim, you can actually buy a pass for the spa, so you can join us. So, yay!
But I can see that we're over halfway through the show, so let's start talking about crossplay.
Yes, crossplay.
So if there are anyone watching who doesn't know what crossplay is, it is dressing up as a character of the opposite gender of what you are. And you've done Keely, as we've seen, and you do it very well. And the three of us are also very interested in doing like a group crossplay. So we thought maybe to do the Three Musketeers.
Ooh.
And so
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. I think it's going to be a lot of work though, with the big crosses on the chest and all that stuff. But we wanted to kind of pick your brain. Like, what do you think are the most like essential or key things to remember or to do when you crossplay?
I think it's a lot about attitude and physicality, actually. I mean, you can get away with a lot of details. You can get away with a beard that doesn't look that real. You can get away with not having the best chest binder and, you know, your silhouette showing a little bit. But if you have the physicality down, then, you know, that
you mean like mannerisms and things like that?
Yeah, mannerisms and, you know, gestures, walk. I got a lot of feedback after Desicon, and basically every time I cosplay Keely, that I walk just like him, and it's because I've studied I've studied drama, and we did a lot of physical workshops and stuff, and so it falls natural to me to not just look at the aesthetics of a character, but also the physicality of a character. And I think if you can get the walk down and postures and alignment, bless you, you've done half the work. So if you've got like a particular set of the Musketeers, I mean, they've been filmed
There's been a lot.
of times.
I think we want to. We've talked about the 1993 version with Kiefer Sutherland. I think that one was produced by Disney.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah, then just, you know, sit down, have a gander, have a look at the typical sort of their key signature gestures, you know, little things that they'll do with their face or their mouth, or maybe they're like eyebrow actors, as we call them. They do a lot of acting with their eyebrows on, you know, stuff like that. And look at how you stand. Where's your weight? Where's the center of your body for this character? Some have a very high center and a very sort of like high posture, very regal and all that. Some are more like slouched. Keely's a little bit like he's relaxed, you know. And some are a little bit more laid back, and, you know. So look at the type of physicalities that's out there. And sometimes it's even helpful to, you know, what kind of animal would this person be? If they were an animal, what kind of animal would they be? Because often their movements will connect to an animal. I mean, a lot of people have described Feely as a lion. And he does have a lot of the typical feline hunter instincts, you know. He's very much a predator, you know.
He's got a little bit of swagger going.
Yeah. So that might be helpful. And also just small things as such as hand gestures. When I crossplay, I tend to sort of curl a little bit, sort of like inwards rather than outwards with my wrists, and try to keep my hips relatively placed so that they don't swagger too much, sway too much. But, feel free to lean on one leg, but then don't shove your hip out. If you lean on one leg, then you put all the weight on that leg and kind of lean to that side instead of leaning to the other side. Stuff like that. So small things can make a lot of difference.
Oh, we have another pet visiting. It's Annabella's dog.
Aww.
He's I feel like I should wear a gas mask, but yeah.
Oh, is he leaking from one or both ends?
It's mostly one. Yeah, it was sound asleep right here by my feet, and yeah.
Suddenly there was Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
Something like I've got a very high-pitched voice, or not high-pitched, but it carries. So I think if I'm going to like really go into a role, I have to alter the way I speak a lot because it's a very female voice. I mean, it goes through walls. I've been told.
Well, I usually tend to lower my pitch, so whenever I'm in Keeley, I go down to quite a low pitch and speak like this. And it's rather awkward when you speak an entire con like this, and you end up really, really sorry.
Is it like hard to stop?
Drink a lot of water. Sorry.
Is it hard to stop at the end of the day, like, you know, going back to being just you and stop speaking like Keeley?
Kinda, sort of. Mainly because I'm so hoarse. My voice is so tired that, you know, the higher register often just cuts out because your voice and your larynx has just gotten used to being so low. So you're like, no, I like it here. I'm not going back. Nope. But it's a lot of practice, and a good exercise, voice exercise to do is what we call sirening. It's when you do the NG sound, like you say sing, and then you go like up and down while you're doing the and that basically is a good warm-up.
When I was in a choir, we had something called the coffee maker. So to train our voices to go lower, we used to go like make a sound like a coffee maker does when it boils coffee.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a.
Yeah.
Hide! The grudge lady's coming to get you.
Yeah, that's another good one. So it's like use voice exercises before you go to a con. It's generally a good idea because people tend to use their voices a lot more on cons than they realize, and then they come home and there's like nothing left, and they're like, "What have I been doing?"
So how about makeup? Like, do you have any like really good tips or tricks for doing male makeup?
To be honest, I'm not the best at makeup. I kind of muddle through. I look at like Best Cosplay, and I mean, Silja Danielsen are bloody magicians, and Starbit, you know, they can transform the face in such ways that I'm just like, wow. Yeah. But I usually try to define this bit, get straight angles here, and you've done a lot of it because women tend to have more soft lines, and if you can get this bit angled with a little bit of shade, and then sometimes cheekbones help if you get them slightly pointed as well, and sometimes it might be an idea to put a little bit of highlight here just to intensify the contrast between that. Then you've got, you know, a strong jaw, and that's usually one of the key point differences between men and women. Women tend to have softer jaw lines, whilst men tend to have harsher. And also, men sometimes have more deep set eyes, so, you know, putting some more shade here and here, and making it look like the eyes are set a little bit deeper, and contouring the noses a little bit sharper and such. But other than that, I'm kind of like on makeup basics. For me, I get a lot for free with a beard because, you know, it's a beard. So, And if you're doing the Musketeers, they do, you get a lot for free, and you don't have to use actual makeup. You can use fake beards, which tend to, they tend to look good for longer than the makeup. I usually have to touch up at least once or twice with Keely. So I always carry like a little stipple.
Yeah, 'cause I imagine, you have an itch and then you scratch it and then like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I tend to try not to touch my face. I've sort of, I've grown rather used to not touching, and kind of like, if I do it, it's very soft, kind of like very carefully.
But Tonya, I know you had some very specific questions to ask Ingrid, because you want to do a Keely cosplay in the future yourself. So, got anything you want to ask her specifically?
I kind of got to speak with Ingrid at Desicon, and asked her if she had any tips concerning the Keely cosplay. And she was kind enough to give me a little note with her different accounts on the internet, and I checked them out, and I was like flabbergasted when I looked at all the progress and all the time and blood, and so it's very informative and so much fun to read all about it, and it made me motivated and at the same time kind of afraid to start. But yeah,
if I can say something
impressive
to that, I think I'd say don't feel intimidated. I mean, I'm a little bit pedantic, and I'm a little bit sort of OCD when it comes to, if I get an idea in my head, I'm kind of like, I have to do this.
Oh, we're the same.
It has to be like that. And when I started the Keely cosplay, I had this idea that I would do all the leather bits in real leather, and everything had to be like as close to the original as possible. I was willing to I was at the point where I was willing to, get the raw silk for his tunic and make it a third time, just so that it would be the right material. And as I went on, I was just like, oh, crying out loud, it's so much money in the end, and it's so much effort, and it's just not worth it when it doesn't make you feel like this is fun anymore. So, I mean, go for materials that are easier to get hold of and easier to work with, and don't feel like you have to have everything perfect, because I mean, as fun as it can be to be able to say that, I've made all of this and it looks just like a movie, you're cosplaying for fun, and unless this is something you want to make, like, this is going to be my baby, this is like the cosplay, this is the most important cosplay in my life kind of thing, then it's not worth it. So, go for easy kills. If you can get away with less details, then do it. I mean, I've seen a lot of Keely cosplayers who've drawn the pattern that he has on his jacket instead of embroidering it, which works perfectly. I mean, if you get the right color and you just paint it, then no one will really tell the difference from afar. And it's also something you can do anyway, and then afterwards you can embroider it, because then you already have the pattern, and then you can just start working. But it's not something you have to do immediately. So get away with as many cut corners as possible, and have fun.
Yeah, that's kind of keyword to cosplay. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all of our ambitions really when we're on this cast and when we're working on projects. The main goal is to have fun. Kind of why we started this thing too, because we thought that it would be fun to be able to talk about cosplay and to do it in front of other people who might be interested in sharing the conversations with us.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, chest binders.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you make one, or have you?
I make one. I have like my chest binder consists of 3 parts basically, mainly because I'm kind of like an F to G cup. So it's a little bit of a challenge to get that all flattened out. And so It's not the most comfortable thing in the world. Let's just say if you've had like a rather tight push-up bra for like a whole day and you take it off and it's been sitting so tightly that you've got like traces in your skin that kind of itch and hurt. That's kind of like my day.
It's kind of like wearing a corset for an entire day too, and you take the corset off, and your guts go like, oh my god!
But I basically wear a sports bra that is slightly small, and then I've made kind of like a tube out of, you can get elastic band that's like this thick, like this broad. So I've made like a tube out of that, which I just pull over on top, and then I attach it to the bra with safety pins so that it won't fall down. And on top of that, I've made a delightfully looking kind of top in spandex, which is like skin-colored spandex. But that doesn't really do that much. It just evens a little bit out because the elastic isn't really big enough to cover everything. So there's like a little gap here. And so that just smooths it out a little bit. But mainly I made it so that I would have some extra padding on the shoulders because I haven't got that broad shoulders and Keely's quite big and bulky. So I look like I have the oddest puffed sleeves in the entire world. When I'm wearing it, it's like...
We have the opposite problem. I'm very small, but I have quite broad shoulders. So in photos, my head looks, it looks tiny, and then the rest of my body looks huge in comparison.
Yeah, well, still, I think that there's really, you can never get broad enough shoulders.
No, not if you're being a man.
If you're crossplay.
That's true.
So, yeah, so that's, it wasn't hard to make either. I just, I made a singlet top, and then I added some sleeves that kind of go like this. So it's like that and to there. And I sewed on a patch here, which I then stuffed with, stuffing, and sewed it shut, and that was it, really.
Yeah.
I actually also added an extra layer on the front, which was slightly tighter on the inside, so that it would get a little bit more of a cinching effect, I suppose. But I think the most important thing when it comes to waist cinches and chest binders and all sorts is that be really careful, because if you put too much pressure on this area, you can actually damage your ribs and get really nasty bruises and such. So, I mean, first Hobbitcon, I did a really, really horrible last-minute solution with a gaffer tape roll, and it's not recommended. Do not do that.
I believe that. I mean,
yeah.
you have to be like, you have to drink a lot of water if you're wrapped in plastic for an entire day.
It was more the fact that it was really, really restrictive and tight, because it had to be so tight that it, when I breathed in, it wouldn't sort of fall down or get slack. So it was really tight, and that can actually be dangerous if I had, taken a fall or something. Yeah. So you have to be really careful, and there's so much material out there about how to do it right. And there's also a lot of shops that do fairly cheap chest binders that work really well and are safe. But obviously, if you are well endowed, it can be a little bit more difficult. So, but I mean, if you if you ask in the community where you have gender fluids and such, then they tend to have a really good grasp of what's good quality and what's not. So if you Google it, you can usually find forums that discuss the quality of the different brands and stuff. So if you know that you're going to do a lot of cross-playing, it might be worth just investing $70 in a good chest binder.
Yeah, all good tips. I can see that our time is starting to run out, so we could move to our wrap-up segment, which is, have you watched or gamed anything exciting or particular in the last week?
No.
Not at all.
Yeah, actually.
Well, there was the premiere of Game of Thrones.
Yes. But actually this morning, my hubby was playing a game on the PS4. Hang on, I'm just going to ask him what it was called.
What was that game called?
Never Alone. And
Okay.
it's a really small game. It's kind of a classic platform type of game. And it's really sweet. It's one of those things that kind of like makes you go like, oh, that's so cute.
I feel like there's been a lot of platform games released lately, and there are more coming, and I kind of like that whole platform revival.
Yeah, and it's the setting is kind of they've used this game to be a bit of an education about Inuit and Eskimo life in Canada, and the culture and background for that, and a lot of history and folk history and folklore, and they've used that and created this really sweet little game, and the graphics is just beautiful. It kind of reminds me a little bit about Journey. In the way the visuals are made, and it's not a very long game, so it looked really nice, and I was just caught just sitting there and watching and just going like, oh.
Well, it's really nice when a game is so aesthetically pleasing that you can actually just sit and watch it and not really have to play it.
Yeah.
And I finished Dragon Age Inquisition this week.
No spoilers.
No, I'm not going to spoil anything. But, oh my god, I was like so stressed out and my heart was beating, and it was amazing. And afterwards it was kind of bittersweet because it was like, yes, I finished! I am the Inquisitor! And then it was like, but it's over! What am I going to do now? I want Dragon Age back!
Play Dragon Age Origins for the 16th time?
It's an option. I think I'm going to try to continue on The Witcher because number 3 is coming out soon, and I haven't finished the second game yet. So,
well, you have the what is it? Some Age of Hakon or something, a DLC for the Dragon Age Inquisition coming out now.
Jaws of Hakken. Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm very tempted. And also we had a Harry Potter marathon, me and my husband, this weekend. So we rewatched all the movies, and the last one, I still cry every time. So
I still haven't seen it yet.
No, I know. And I'm not going to spoil it for you because she refuses to watch it until, because it's the end of her childhood to her. So she can't watch it until
you have to solemnly swear that you're up to no good.
Yes.
Yeah, but
much.
the thing is, when it was up on the movies, there was some stuff that happened in my life that I couldn't really go or didn't feel like it. So then it stopped going on the cinema, and then I just felt like I couldn't just sit home and watch it because it wouldn't feel right. I need everything to be right.
That can make life slightly difficult to live.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just such a sentimental sap. It doesn't matter how many times I've watched those movies. It's like every time it's sad. When characters die or whatever, I'm like, tears are rolling and I'm sniffling in silence. And then my husband is like, are you crying or are you sick or something? What's up? And I'm like, I'm crying.
I still have the last scene from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone memorized in my head, so I can do the whole Quirrell Voldemort speech whenever.
The sign of a true nerd.
I used to practice that when I was a kid because I had a CD at home, so I used to listen to the soundtrack, and when that soundtrack of the last scene came on, I was just like, Harry Potter, we meet again. Voldemort, and I did the whole thing,
Yeah. We were doomed to be cosplayers and nerds from the beginning, basically.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of choice.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and finish Dragon Age now. So yeah, there will be a lot of Dragon Age playing.
Oh, just
I've also
out of curiosity, relationship-wise, do you have a favorite?
Well, see, my problem is that ever since he showed up, all I've wanted to do is romance Varric.
Yes.
And he's just like totally not interested, and I'm kind of like, Bianca. So I've kind of settled for Cullen, which is it's kind of cute, but it's not that.
I like
And
Colin.
it's not Alistair either.
No, it's not Alistair. I tried
Who I will
Blackwell,
be
but then
cosplaying.
meh.
I will be cosplaying Alistair for the record.
Wow,
Ooh,
then you will have
Yeah.
so many fangirls after you.
Swooping is
Including us.
bad. So yeah, that's on the list. Yeah,
Wow.
Alistair. Let's talk about your mother. Yeah, Lisa and I are gonna have a lot of fun because she cosplay Morrigan. So
Yeah, of course. I've been thinking about doing a Dragon Age cosplay myself, but I just can't decide really. But I think I might do the Battle Mage armor for the that my Inquisitor wears.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole chest piece and everything, it just looks really cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
And I
I'm
think
still
she's
sort of, I'm not sure if I'm going to do like the original Alistair outfit or if I'm going to do like his royal plate mail.
I'd hate to be a party pooper, but we're on overtime.
Yes, we are. We kind of need to stop now. We could probably go on for ages and ages, but we probably need to stop now.
Yeah.
So it's been a real pleasure having you on the CosCasting, right?
Thank you. It's been a pleasure
We
being here.
love you.
Yes.
Aw, I love you too.
So you're very welcome to come back anytime you want to. If you just want to join us, or if you have something you in particular you want to talk about, just
Like
give us-
Alistair.
Like Alistair.
Yeah, I like Alistair.
or if
I'm
you
always
want
up for
to
that.
a Fenris discussion, for example, we could do that too.
Oh, you'll have to invite Jenny then.
Yes, we will have to.
Yes.
I've been thinking about inviting Jenny actually, so we might actually have to do that. But yeah, usually I have this prepared because I was going to mention what we're going to do next time. Let me just see if I can find it real quick.
I'm just kidding.
Silence. Next week we are going to talk about cosplay props. How are they made? And maybe try to get a special guest who's very good with props on the show. So, yeah,
That's nice.
that's happening next Sunday. So stay tuned.
Maybe I'll finish my mace until then.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay, so to everyone watching, bye-bye, and we'll see you next Sunday. And thanks for watching the CosCast. Bye.
Bye.
Mischief managed.